What's happening at the Missouri History Museum? You'll find out next on City Corner. I'm Steve Potter, welcome to City Corner. And today we're going to catch up with the Missouri History Museum in Forest Park. They've got a lot of current exhibitions and some things coming up that we want you to know about. Dr. Jody Sowell is Managing Director of Public History for the museum, and he joins us now. Hi, Jody.
Hi, good to see you again.
Again. Do you have any idea how long ago that was?
5 or 6 years ago, we'll say.
Was it?
Is that good? Will that help our memory? Does that excuse our memory?
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not.
Right.
Well, I have to ask you this right off the top. Gee, working at a place like a museum, how have the last 2 years been for you?
You know, we were able to open in late June of 2020. So we opened before many museums across the country were able to open. We almost immediately had a new exhibit for the visitors who did come. You know, we opened conservatively, safely, made sure people were wearing masks, make sure at first that people had to have tickets. So it's been slow going, but it's been nice. Almost throughout the whole pandemic, we've seen visitors. We're certainly seeing more now as people become more comfortable, but.
I don't want you to dwell on this too much, but what do you remember 2 years ago when it all hit? For people like you in your line of work, it just must have been like the world came to an end.
Well, you know, we quickly pivoted. So we quickly moved a lot of our programs online, a lot of our history online. So we started, I think, 2 days, maybe a day after we closed, we started a daily social media series called Uplifting STL, where every day you would get an uplifting, inspirational, motivational story from St. Louis history. It was our way of saying, take a break from the headlines and go back into St. Louis history and find that inspiration. So, I'm really proud of the work we did during the pandemic. We created a short video called St. Louis Strong, which really told people that, yes, we're facing challenging times now, but we've faced those challenging times as a community in the past, and here's how we overcame them. So, at the Missouri History Museum, we believe the past can serve as a place to get inspiration and to learn lessons about how to face the present and the future. We certainly saw that during the pandemic.
Well, during the program today, we're going to preview some upcoming events or upcoming exhibitions and also the current ones that you have up. Before we do that, though, just real briefly, what makes the Missouri History Museum so special? How is it different than any other museum in town or the country, for that matter?
Well, one, it tells stories of the most fascinating city in the country, which is St. Louis. So that's what separates it from history museums in other places. I believe the Missouri History Museum is the place where you meet a St. Louis that you've never met before. Whether you've lived here all your life or just moved here last week or just visiting, this is the place where you learn about this community. And I talk a lot about the fact that the more people know about the past, the more interested they'll be in the present and the more invested they will be in the future. So for us, it's not just about talking about history. It's really about connecting people to St. Louis and making them feel like this is a special place that they want to invest time, money, and resources into. So, I think that we're bigger than most history museums, we're more nimble, we're willing to take on a wide variety of subjects, but what ties it all together is a love and passion for St. Louis.
Well, you've got a great building and a great location. The Missouri History Museum is in Forest Park, and you were talking about people not knowing the history and stuff. I was a little confused too, because I was heard, we know Forest Park was where the 1904 World's Fair was held, and I always thought the History Museum building was one of the buildings left over, like the Art Museum from the World's Fair.
Right, so not true, but close. So the Jefferson Memorial Building, as it was called when it first opened, was the country's first memorial to Thomas Jefferson. It was opened in 1913, so it was built with proceeds from the fair. It was really meant to honor and celebrate the fair. The fair was, of course, the Louisiana Purchase Exposition. The Louisiana Purchase was signed by Thomas Jefferson. That's why we have that big statue of Thomas Jefferson. It's also on the location of one of the main entrances to the World's Fair, but not actually there during 1904.
Okay, I got to brush up on my history a little bit. Well, let's talk about some of the exhibitions that are up now and are continuing for a while. There's something called St. Louis Sound. I think it's been up for a few months now, and it runs through January the 22nd.
Of 2023, so it's open all of next year. So St. Louis Sound is about St. Louis's contributions to popular music history.
Club Imperial, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's where Ike Turner and Tina Turner, some of the first clubs they played in. In fact, Tina Turner wasn't supposed to, she was a backup singer. Ike Turner certainly loved her and loved her sound, but she was a backup singer. He went to record A Fool in Love. It's meant to be recorded by someone else. That person didn't show up that day, which was a pretty bad decision. And Tina Turner was there, and so Ike said, "Hey, you know the words. You were going to play backup. Why don't you just record it?" And so she records it. He didn't plan on releasing that. He played that record for a St. Louis DJ at the Club Imperial, and the DJ said, "You're crazy. You've got gold. You've got to release this." They release it. It goes to the top of the charts, and of course, the rest is history. When she got her start here in St. Louis and East St. Louis clubs like the Club Imperial, she was going by Anna Bullock. Right. That was her original name. Ike Turner changes once she gets that success to Tina Turner. One reason is because he wanted to copyright the name, because so many of his backup singers left the band, and he thought, I'll call her Tina Turner, and then if she leaves the band, we'll just get someone else to take on the name of Tina Turner. Right. What he didn't understand was there's only one Tina Turner.
Wow. I had the privilege of interviewing Ike Turner one time for STL TV, as a matter of fact, when he got his star in the Walk of Fame here in University City.
And it was this year, this surprises people, it was just this year that Tina Turner was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Ike and Tina were already there, but as a solo artist, it was just this year that she was inducted. And I've had people walk through that St. Louis Sound exhibit and say, I didn't know Tina Turner got her start in St. Louis.
What?
It's hard to believe. St. Louis has so much to be proud of. One thing that I say with that exhibit is, we will prove to you that St. Louis is a great American musical city, just like Austin, just like New Orleans, just like Chicago.
Well, let me ask you about that, because I read in some of your paperwork that St. Louis, you call it, it's geographic and cultural, it's at a geographic and cultural crossroads.
Yeah, I think you see that from someone like Chuck Berry, who's influenced by country music and blues music. It's all coming together here. But I think you can just list the names. Scott Joplin, Josephine Baker, Henry Townsend, Fontella Bass, Albert King, Chuck Berry, Miles Davis, Uncle Tupelo, Nellie.
My grandmother knew Bob Hoyle.
Yeah.
Right.
Developed
people
the
probably
talk
don't.
Box, right?
Yeah.
Famous by Peter Frampton and others, but developed right here. So there's so many music stories that come out of St. Louis. Even some areas, some genres that people think, oh, St. Louis didn't play a part in alternative country or gospel, but St. Louis played an impact in every genre.
What about Beyond the Ballot? That's another current exhibition that's up for a while.
You asked about the pandemic. We were ready to open Beyond the Ballot. We were 3 weeks from opening when we had to shut down for the pandemic. When we came back, it took us just a few more weeks to get it ready. It opened in August of 2020. This is our exploration of the 100th anniversary of suffrage. One thing I love about it, though, you learn about all the St. Louis women who fought for a voice even before they had a vote, who really laid that foundation. And then you learn how St. Louis played a real impact on the national suffrage movement, including Virginia Minor, who 50 years before suffrage passes, walked up the steps of the old courthouse and said, I'm here to vote. And they said, but you're a woman. And she said, I know, but the 14th Amendment says if I'm born in the United States, I have the rights of a citizen. One of those rights should be to vote, and so that's why I'm here. Her case goes all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, unfortunately, says right to vote is not one of those rights that you get as a citizen. So it takes 50 years later, but it shows you how influential St. Louis women were in that national fight for suffrage.
And isn't it kind of hard to believe that was only 100 years ago?
Incredibly hard to believe. One thing that I love about this exhibit is it also ends in the present. So it ends with the interviews with about 10 St. Louis women talking about the issues they're facing today and from whom they draw inspiration. But yeah, that past is not as far away as we think often.
Now, what was the Golden Line Parade?
Golden Lane Parade, I love this. So 1916, the Democratic National Convention was being held here in St. Louis. The delegates were going to walk from their hotel to the Coliseum. What they didn't know is as they walked, about 7,000 St. Louis women lined the streets, all dressed in white, all wearing yellow sashes that said votes for women, all holding yellow parasols. And what did they do? They just stared the men down and stayed completely silent as they walked to say, you've taken our voice by not giving us the vote. And so when you go up there to that Democratic National Convention, you better put the right to vote as one of the planks of the Democratic Party. And they did.
And back then, wasn't it kind of risque for women to go out and protest on their own? I mean, back then, that was like kind of walking on the wild side.
Absolutely. I mean, these were... Think about how committed those women had to be and how frightening that could be to, I mean, these are people of national stature. These are delegates to a national convention. Many of these women, weren't necessarily in the public sphere, and then to come out and really, like I said, stare them down. It's a pretty amazing moment.
Who was Dr. Josie Hitchcock?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar with that.
Okay, well,
name,
I wrote a few names down. Priscilla Henry, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, so some of those, I told you that the first section is about women who fought for a voice even before they had a vote. And in there, you will hear Priscilla Henry was a brothel owner who was incredibly well regarded in the community, though. Her funeral was attended by hundreds of people. You will also learn about someone like Susan Blow, who brought the kindergarten movement to the United States.
She invented kindergarten, didn't she?
Yes. So you will learn about Annie Malone, the country's first female millionaire, African-American female millionaire who made her riches right here in St. Louis. You will learn about business people and people who were instrumental in the playground movement, but all of those women were basically laying the foundation for those women who were at the Golden Lane Parade.
And the Beyond the Ballot exhibit's up for how long?
That one is just open through March of next year, so not much more time to see that one. And yeah, but very excited to have that.
When we come back, we want to talk about Thursday nights at the museum, and you've got some other stuff on the calendar we want to talk about too. So we're talking about the Missouri History Museum and what's to do and see there, and we'll have more of this right after this message. Thanks.
The Missouri Botanical Garden is loved by green thumbs and non-gardening types alike because you can play. You can relax. And there's always something new to experience, no matter the time of day or the season. And learn about conservation and one-of-a-kind plants. So come and experience St. Louis.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination. But don't just imagine. Use STEM to change the world.
Who's with me?
Oh, it's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What I love about St. Louis is the 79 unique neighborhoods
nestled into 108 city parks, including Forest Park, which is actually larger than Central Park in New York, and of course, the beautiful Tower Grove Park where I'm at now. Oh, the St. Louis Blues. We've got the St. Louis Surge, two-time WBCBL champions. We've got Harris Stowe, WashU, St. Louis University, and of course, the 11-time World Series champion, St. Louis Cardinals. So come experience St. Louis.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
It's so sad. It's good. It's not.
I'm Steve Potter. Welcome back to City Corner. Today we're talking with Dr. Jody Sowell of the Missouri History Museum in Forest Park. And what's your doctorate in, by the way?
It's in American Studies from St. Louis University.
Were you one of those
Go
little,
Billikens.
Were you one of those little kids that got A's in history?
I probably did okay in history. I actually had a background in journalism like you, and but what I loved about journalism was telling those community stories, and so that's what got me into museums.
You do something I've seen a lot about. I have to admit, I've never been to the museum on a Thursday night.
Oh, well, you have to start coming, because what we promise is that Thursday nights will be the most fun, educational, engaging, thought-provoking, perspective-shaping night of your week. And there are drinks.
Okay, you got me.
Right. I don't know where I caught you, but yeah. So 5:30 to 8 every Thursday night. We are open late. 5:30 to 6:30 is kind of like a happy hour, so you can grab a drink. There are lots of pop-up activities, maybe short tours, maybe Stump the Historian, maybe a dance or something in our grand hall. And then at 6:30, we will have a main stage performance. So coming up on December 30th, so it's sort of an early New Year's, a prohibition party. You'll see the Arcadia Dance Orchestra playing.
Okay, let me just back up there, because I know we have some images to look at, so I want to ask you about those. So this is Thursday nights at the museum, and the first image you just mentioned, the Arcadia Dance Orchestra. So tell me about that.
1920s jazz. So this is going to be sort of a prohibition party. You can come dressed in a flapper dress. You Steve, don't have to wear a flapper dress.
Thank you.
You can come in flapper dress or 1920s garb. Again, have a drink, hear some 1920s jazz. It's going to be great. So that's like, get your New Year's started a little early. You don't have to stay up till midnight. It's going to be, again, 5:30 to 8.
You know, if you're somebody worried about social distancing too, which everyone's concerned a little bit about, you mentioned it earlier, do you call it the Great Hall?
Grand Hall,
The Grand Hall. It is a huge space, so it's almost like you're outside.
Yeah, plenty of room to space out. People have been very comfortable. We've seen great crowds. We do still require masks, so it is a safe way to celebrate. And again, if you're someone who doesn't want to stay up till midnight, you can have your New Year's a day early and a little bit earlier in the evening.
I used to stay up to midnight.
Yeah, me too.
Long time ago. Coming up, there's something about Meet Me in St. Louis.
Yeah, so December 16th, our Thursday nights at the museum, will be a screening of Meet Me in St. Louis. It's my family's Christmas movie. We watch it absolutely every year. You know, when Tootie says, wasn't she lucky to be born in her favorite city, St. Louis? We feel the same. So yes, you'll be able to come see Meet Me in St. Louis. You can even sing along if you want, so we will allow that.
Did you meet Tootsie when she was in town a few years ago?
I did not get a chance to.
I rode the Del Mar train with her. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. We also had, I think Mary Strauss let us borrow one of the dresses from Meet Me in St. Louis a couple of years ago.
They just had a big thing for Mary Strauss honoring her by showing that movie.
Absolutely, and we honored her with one of our biggest awards and had some great discussions of the Fox. So.
Let's talk about some upcoming events in the time we have left for the Missouri History Museum. There's one that opens in August of next year, Coloring STL.
Yeah, so Coloring STL, I like to say, is an architecture exhibit like none you've ever seen. Because in addition to, and I think you have some images of some great St. Louis architectural marvels, whether it be, the arena, that people remember, the Blues' first home. Some that have been erased from time, some that still exist. You're going to see artifacts from these buildings, including the Stick, Spear, and Fuller. Wow. You're going to see artifacts from those. But one thing that's going to set this apart, you're going to learn about the different proposals for the riverfront that went beyond the arch. Yeah. You know, an 800-foot bridge that was supposed to cross the Mississippi. One person had an idea for an underground television studio and radio studio that would be constantly giving reports about the West. So you maybe would have liked that proposal. Yes. But the arch wins out, but you'll see other plans. But what I love about this exhibit is you won't just see pictures of artifacts or pictures and artifacts. You're actually going to get to color on the walls of the museum because we're going to have both residential architecture and commercial architecture outlined on the walls on dry erase wallpaper. And then you as a visitor can grab a packet of dry erase markers and actually color it. It's going to be a great way to experience St. Louis architecture with friends and family. It's one of those that's designed to be a group activity. All of us get together. You and I can go and we can color the arena, for example.
But do I have to be artistic?
You don't. You don't. We already created the lines. You just have to color within the lines.
I think I could do that. Okay. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
You've got something else coming up about Vietnam at war and at home.
Yes. So that is we took over operations of the Soldiers Memorial Military Museum downtown a few years ago. We reopened it in November of 2018. And one of our promises was that this wasn't just going to sit empty. It wasn't just going to be a beautiful building, that there would always be new reasons to come back, new exhibits and new programs. So we created a new temporary space at the bottom of that building. We started with an exhibit about World War I. This summer we had an exhibit about Japanese internment camps. But one show that people have asked us about as soon as we took over operations was, can you do an exhibit about the Vietnam War? So November of next year, we will open that exhibit. It will look at how St. Louisans were affected by the war. I think it's one thing that separates Soldiers Memorial is that this isn't just a museum about military history. This is still a museum about St. Louis. It's just about how St. Louisans served and what that service meant.
Well, of course, it depends on what age you are, but I was like a teenager during the Vietnam War or getting there, and it has, I still kind of get emotional thinking about it. I bet you see people react to this, or will see people react to it.
Absolutely. So it is one of those things when we do exhibits about history that people live through, sometimes people say, well, now, wait a second, I don't like thinking the stuff I've lived through is history, but of course it is. And we saw that through the pandemic as well. Okay,
here's another upcoming exhibit. I think May of next year it opens. This is Painting Creole.
Yeah, so this is Painting Creole St. Louis is about Anna Maria von Pfuel, who comes to St. Louis in 1817, 1818, and fills her sketchbook with images of St. Louis people and St. Louis places. They are some of the earliest images that we have of St. Louis. So if you want to know what St. Louis was like not long after founding, Anna Maria von Pfuel is the person who can give you those glimpses. The woman who you saw holding some of those pictures is our senior curator, Hattie Felton, and she has also created and written a book about Anna Maria von Pfuel called More Than Ordinary. That is currently out, so you can go ahead and get that book, look at some of the images, and then come next year for a small exhibit in our atrium gallery.
The woman you mentioned, von Pfuel?
Yes, Anna Maria von Pfuel.
That wasn't on my radar. Is that true for most people?
I think so. So we use her a lot. We use her images a lot because she did create some of the earliest images of St. Louis, but I think not well known, and she certainly deserves to be.
Where are all your different exhibit ideas come from? Do you have a committee that works on these for years or what?
You know, we have, sometimes it's our expertise of our curators. So I mentioned Hattie Felton. She is an expert in our arts collection. So she wants to do something about that. Sometimes it's from visitors who say, we want a Vietnam exhibit, please bring that to us. And sometimes it's just, we know, whether it be an anniversary, the 100th anniversary of suffrage, or sometimes it's just, well, we know music history is one of those things that people are really interested in. So, and sometimes our ideas take a while. So that music exhibit, I think we first started talking about it 8 years ago.
Wow.
We haven't been working on it every day since, but we started talking about, wouldn't St. Louisans, wouldn't our visitors love a St. Louis music exhibit?
You mentioned a curator or two, but I understand you're going to be going through some changes at the museum in leadership?
We are. So Dr. Frances Levine is the president of the Missouri Historical Society. She has been here since April 2014. She has decided to retire, so she will be retiring in the summer of next year. And so, yes, that will be new leadership, but we have such great plans for the 2020s, including new core galleries, more digitization. We're making a promise to show you more of our collection than we've ever shown. All of those plans are in the works, and so that we'll be losing and missing Fran. You know, we have a remarkable staff. You asked what makes the Missouri History Museum different. One thing is we have the best history museum staff in the country. So we will be unveiling quite a few exciting plans for the 2020s.
Well, Jody, I'm setting you up for this one, but wonder if I can't afford the huge admission cost.
You can, because it's absolutely free. That is thanks to members and sponsors and, of course, the Zoo Museum Tax District. It is, though, another thing that separates St. Louis. I went to Galveston for Thanksgiving and went to a relatively small exhibit about immigration in Galveston. Each ticket was $20. So it took, my family, one child stayed at home. It cost us $60 to go to that exhibit. You can come see St. Louis Sound, Beyond the Ballot, when they open Coloring STL in Vietnam for absolutely no charge.
I'm not sure if you referred to this or not, but a new visitor prototyping space, and you'll have to explain that to me.
Yeah, so in April of next year, we're opening up what we're calling Vision Lab. It's a small room, but it's a place with a big purpose. It's a place where you as a visitor can help us plan the future of the Missouri Historical Society. So you can tell us, you asked about exhibits, you can tell us what exhibits you would like to see, you can tell us what issues you would like us to tackle, you can tell us sort of what size font you want on labels. We might throw out some things that, hey, we're gonna try this interactive for this new exhibit. Try it out and tell us how it works. I think it's going to be one of the biggest spaces in any museum I've seen that really allows visitors to plan right alongside us.
If somebody wants to find out about current exhibits, upcoming exhibits, or anything that you've talked about, or hours at the museum and all that, what's the best way to do it?
Best way is mohistory.org. That's our website. You can also follow us on all your social media channels. But yeah, always something great going on. You can also just show up any Thursday night, and I will promise you that there's going to be something that you're absolutely going to love.
What are the times on Thursday nights again?
That's 5:30 to 8.
All right, Dr. Jody Sowell, thank you so much for being here and explaining what's going on at the Missouri History Museum in Forest Park.
I love any chance I get to come and talk to you.
All right, we'll do it again sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Steve Potter. Thanks you for watching, and we'll see you in Forest Park at the museum, right?